I'm Jan, my co-founder Alex sits here. So we created Jovo, and we're not talking a lot about Jovo today. We were asked to just share our experiences from Voice Camp, which was in New York from April through June. And just for some context, I'm just going to talk about what we're doing in 2 slides. There we go. So with Jovo, we want to enable developers to create cross-platform, multimodal experiences. We just started out a few months ago. Our first product is a framework that helps you create cross-platform voice apps. So with just one source of code, you can build apps that work for both Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant. It's open source. It's online since like 2 months ago. People are already using it, and we're improving it every day. This is our first product, and the second product, which is in private beta right now, is our multimodal API. So we believe that, and Andrea said that as well, sometimes voice might not be enough. Sometimes you want to show some additional information on the screen. Sometimes you want to provide continuous experiences. One example is you're at home listening to a podcast, but then you're leaving the house and want to continue listening to that podcast on your phone. How do you do that right now? So this is very difficult for developers to set up right now. There's a lot of account linking to do, stuff like that, and we're making that easier with our multimodal API. And this was also our actual first idea that we brought to this meetup almost exactly 5 months ago. We only had one prototype, a video of a prototype, and a blog post, and proposed that idea here. So we're happy to be back. A few days afterwards, we hopped on a plane to go to New York to the Voice Camp accelerator, and I'm just sharing with you some stuff we learned there and what Voice Camp is. So Voice Camp is an accelerator by Betaworks. Who knows what Betaworks is? Can I see some hands? Okay, it's not a lot of people. It's cool. So who knows one of the companies that is shown here? Okay, that's more. So Betaworks, they call themselves a startup studio. They're from New York, and they have 3 pillars. The first one is the actual studio where they have people create new products. So all of those companies, they first started out as a small team inside the Betaworks office. The second pillar is a seed fund where they invest in companies that are in the media industry. So they invested in Product Hunt, in Medium, in Tumblr, and stuff like that. TweetDeck as well, I believe. So they do a lot of investing there. And last year they launched. Oh, you want to take a picture? Sorry. Last year they launched a third pillar called Camp. The Camp is their thematic accelerator program where they want to dive into new technologies and interfaces. And it started out with Bot Camp last year about conversational interfaces, chatbots, Facebook Messenger, Slack bots, stuff like that. And this year we were part of Voice Camp, which was voice focused. And good timing because their new accelerator, which is with AR focus, the Vision Camp, the application is just open today. So if you're working on something Vision AR related, they're also very interested in like synergies between all of them. So because we also believe that with our multimodal stuff we're working on, that ideally in the future all of this works together, all the modalities work together. If you've ever used VR and tried to click on a navigation bar and stuff like that, so that just doesn't work. So this is why, if you're interested in that, just let us know. We're happy to make an introduction to Betaworks as well if you're working in the AR space. Okay, so this is the Voice Camp was, we were one of 8 teams that were working in the voice space. It was an 11 weeks program. Each team got a small investment and mentoring. So people from Amazon, from Google, from Microsoft were coming in each week and told us stuff about speech recognition, voice design, stuff like that. So we really learned a lot. And I'm going to talk more about our personal learnings about the space. So if you're interested in all the different teams, and there were also panel discussions about the state of voice and stuff like that, all the videos from the Betaworks Voice Camp demo day are available here. So there you can see everyone pitching, myself included, if you're interested in that. Okay, so now our personal learnings, we tried to put them into 4 categories. The first one is market momentum, timing, fear, and voice ecosystems, and I will talk briefly about all of them. So market momentum. I don't know if you know that figure, but some analysts predicted that, so we're now at about 7% of smart speaker households in the US, and some analysts predicted that by 2020, 75% of households own at least one smart speaker. And that's like, okay, it's 2020, but then you realize that is already 2017. So in 3 years, you know, there are so many people, like basically in almost every household there will be someone who knows how to work with voice interfaces. And what's even more interesting is that when you watch people use voice interfaces, so that was one of the people from a Voice Camp demo day. He was a little embarrassed, but he also told us that his 4-year-old child talks to Alexa all the time. So this is where it gets really interesting when we see the next generation of people. I don't know, Generation Z is already taken. I don't know how they're called, but so it's going to be really interesting, and I believe even more in that vision after going to IFA this weekend, where it showed that smart speakers and voice assistants will be everywhere. So not even everyone is trying to build their own voice assistant. Here you can see Samsung Bixby, Mycroft is an open source voice assistant, even Line, a Japanese messaging service, they want to launch their own. There's actually 3 companies in China who want to launch their own voice assistants as well. So it's happening a lot with voice assistants, but also just people that want to integrate existing voice assistants. Like there were 15 smart speakers that integrate either Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant into their smart speakers. So that's going to be really interesting. But also other use cases like this one. This is similar to AirPod, as it called, from Apple, and a wireless earplug. It was a Kickstarter project that integrates Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa, and Siri. So voice assistants seem to be everywhere in the future. This is the Kickstarter, Liberty Plus, and Prague it does. And we see a lot happening until Christmas. You want to share some plans from Amazon?
So our roadmap is...
Okay, so there's going to be a lot happening. We saw the IFA announcements. They all want to be like the Christmas present, which Amazon did last year with the Echo Dot, which was a smart move. And this whole momentum brings us to timing as well, and Andrea said that already.
Did you just add
that? And you would say that. Okay, so if you look at the numbers of devices sold and people that are actively contributing to this space, it's clear that there's it's a really, really tight-knit community right now. Like this meetup here in Berlin, which just started a year ago or so, being the biggest meetup all over the world, shows that there's not everyone thinking about this space right now. So this is really a great time to work on this now. We started with this stuff 6 months ago, and we already managed to develop stuff and meet a lot of people that are also interested in the space. So it's really the right time to do so. And Betaworks also did some analysis on that, and it also showed, if you compare it to the App Store launch, that there were compared to devices that are sold, that there were way more apps, way bigger app store already a few months after the store launch. So there's still a lot of room for more skills and stuff like that. So I believe we all have great timing, and if you're new to the space, here's a list we compiled of resources where you can get additional information on a weekly basis. Voice First FM is a great podcast network that do weekly shows, which is really cool. Voicebot.ai is the go-to resource for me for market data and stuff like that. A great German podcast, if you want to learn more about voice design. The creator sits here as well. I would recommend that if you're German speaking, and then there's a developer-focused newsletter here, and also some advertising. We are launching courses, more in-depth courses about voice development on jovo.tech/learn, which is pretty new right now, but just as a sneak peek. Cool. The next thing is fear. You want to maybe go out for like 2 minutes.
I'll close my eyes.
So, okay. So the thing is, we talked to a lot of people during VoiceCamp, and they were all, when we proposed our initial idea, the multimodal API, they were all just, like some person at a meetup was like, do you really, why would Amazon not build this? And we were like explaining for like 5 minutes why we can do that and not Amazon. And he was like, okay, but I work at Amazon. So it's really difficult right now to focus on just a feature, and this is what we learned the hard way, probably while going through VoiceCamp. It's that probably Amazon is launching new features so fast, and there are more and more platforms that are basically, it's a big race, and they're all seemingly fighting each other, which is difficult for small startups that are just feature focused and building small products. So this is something that happens as well. So sometimes it happens, sometimes companies get bought, sometimes when it's not, when it might be a little too costly to buy stuff, it's built by the platforms themselves, so it's just something to watch out. But also Amazon did some great stuff as well, like rewarding, I just added that slide, just rewarding developers, adding more features and stuff like that, so you can really see that the platforms seem to care about the developers, because there's so many platforms people could develop for. And what happened to our product, our initial idea, which we used to apply to VoiceCamp, was the multimodal API, no framework for cross-platform development. But then people kept asking us, why wouldn't Amazon just improve their account linking and stuff like that? And we saw that happening as well, and this is why we made the cross-platform framework as our first product, and we'll build the API as a layer on top of our framework, as a product number 2, to be a little more defensible with our cross-platform framework. And this is also what we believe is one of the things to do when you're just in this thunderstorm of platforms racing against each other, to pick a space where you can't be just destroyed by a big platform. It's to either choose something domain specific where you know a lot about, do something cross-platform. So if one platform tries to build your stuff as well, that is still applicable to the second platform or third platform, or to do something open source to help bring the voice developer community together. And this is why we developed the cross-platform open source framework. And this happened as well. So many of those features here we either had on our roadmap or already developed. So the CLI, for example, the command line interface we already had. So it's still painful when you know that the big platforms do that as well. But then again, it's not cross-platform. There are also some other tools that actually build stuff like this. So it's always important to watch out for that. So talking about competition, it was always pretty difficult to compete against Silicon Valley startups. We're here in Germany. There's not a lot of capital available here. And the good thing is that Silicon Valley doesn't seem to care a lot about voice right now. It's not like, oh, voice design. It's nothing a tech pro would actually do. So, which is a great opportunity, I believe, for people outside Silicon Valley. And we saw some emerging voice ecosystems. There are a lot of people in New York working on this stuff. In Washington, there's actually a lot happening. There's even a fund completely focused on voice investments emerging there. Berlin is a great ecosystem. There's a lot of agencies and startups in the voice space in London, and in Paris there's an interesting voice startup as well with an upcoming conference. And we believe that in Berlin there's already so much happening, so many different startups, companies, agencies working in this voice space, thinking about this stuff. We have such a great meetup that it's important to strengthen Berlin as a voice hub. And this is why we're, as an experiment, we just launched this today, just a landing page for a conference, spring 2018 in Berlin, which we call the Voice and Beyond Conference. So if you're interested, please sign up. We'll also try to get a sheet of paper for offline sign-ups. And very happy to talk about this if you want to contribute, if you want to help out to grow this space together. So this is our team. If you're a GitHub user, we're desperately looking for stars on GitHub for our framework. And if you have any feedback, if you want to try the framework out, let me know. Thanks a lot.